music. How might our reality change, assuming that it were? There is no such thing as truly evident that time. Time could be, quite possibly, one of the best false notions of our science and of all human culture. New proof now shows that the truth wherein we live is very unique. Time doesn't run forward or in reverse. It is this earth-shattering acknowledgement that could change our impression of reality forever. Who doesn't know the morning look at the clock, and the time usage that emerges from it? We are late right off the bat. Time, or on the other hand, using up all available time in regular day-to-day life, we experience stress because there is frequently not enough time, or time doesn't bring us what we would like. Scientists are now warning that we are making a colossal error here that separates us from the genuine experience of the world and obliterates our brain. What truly is time? What is your take of it as needs be? Define the essence of time. A sequence of events, an emotional feeling, or an actual quantity? You may not be shocked to find that science has a similar problem defining time as we do as common individuals. It's precisely this reality that makes time so captivating. The reality that time is slippery and, strictly speaking, can't be demonstrated likewise, tests time as an amount in itself. What if time doesn't exist? Science describes time as an essential physical amount that is viewed as a continuous, irreversible sequence of events. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity considers time to be relative and subject to the movement of objects and individuals. Time also acts correspondingly to gravity. Time elapses differently close to heavy objects than near light objects or in a vacuum. Time has become an essential part of our 4D world. Space comprises of the three dimensions: length, height, and width. Within this space, things happen and objects move. In space, endless cosmic systems move. Inside these universes, stars rotate with their planets around the cosmic center. In the process, time probably passes. A star system takes so much time to circle the center of the universe. Planets circle their stars within a specific time, and on planets, creatures like us can obviously exist, who arrange their regular day-to-day lives according to time. But is this emotional view of time evidence that it, in fact, exists? Albert Einstein was not totally sure. Throughout his life, he described time as one of the most unsure amounts in the universe. He already thought that time might be a deception and not a fixed physical amount. Time expansion and the theory of relativity. Was Albert Einstein right? A space traveler could fly into space and return to Earth after a certain period of time. The peculiarity of time expansion would imply that time would elapse differently for the space traveler in space than it does on Earth. The peculiarity of time expansion would hypothetically mean that a space traveler would get back to a planet after an emotionally or actually experienced season of a few years, during which substantially more time has passed. The space traveler would probably have aged less in space and would no longer recognize previous friends. That much is clear from the theory. Anyway, too little is known regarding the future of time to truly affirm this impact. Moreover, we are currently incapable of making sufficiently long space journeys to experience the peculiarity of time expansion and to explore it scientifically. Albert Einstein demonstrated in his work that time relies upon speed and gravity. In the special theory of relativity, time is seen as slower for moving observers than for spectators at rest. This shows that time isn't an absolute general quantity. The plainly relative forces at work in space are still a mystery to science today. Relative means that these forces don't represent a reasonable and direct size. The differences in the effect and behavior of these forces are clearly perceptible on Earth and in the nearby universe. We need to expect that relative forces, such as time, movement, and speed, have a different impact elsewhere in space. This truth alone could make sense of certain ambiguities in the description of the universe. Quantum mechanics knows no time. Are you aware that your reality is shaped from bunches of minuscule particles, all of which act very oddly? We know our reality from solid things, propensities, and our daily routine. In the morning, we always get up at about the same time, approach our obligations and propensities. We are accustomed to the reality that the coffee stays in the cup in the morning and that we can put this cup on the table. But imagine that, in the world of quanta, your coffee mug could also be an apple, and that your table could vanish when you are not looking. I hope this helps. If you'd like further modifications or have additional thoughts on the content, feel free to share. In the room, this is precisely what the conduct of quanta, little particles of light that make up our matter, shows. The way of behaving of these particles not only puts our universe of matter to the test, but also time. Quanta know no time. Similarly, as they can involve different positive states all at once, they can possess several times immediately, or they know no time at all. This would mean that time is a deception, one that could be attached to our experience of matter. But if we understand that matter and time could be a deception, what is real? This question is captivating and keeps quantum analysts all over the planet occupied. Classical physics struggles with the discoveries of quantum mechanics, precisely because objects, such as large stars and galaxies, aren't anything more than light changes or optical deceptions at the quantum level. Moderate scientists tend to dismiss the findings of quantum mechanics. Unexpectedly, the generally brilliant Albert Einstein was one of them. He even found the quanta and won a Nobel Prize for it. However, later, he was so disappointed with the discoveries about his own discovery that he earnestly dismissed quantum physics. Times emerge along the way to matter. Rigorously speaking, time could emerge somewhere along the path from the wave-like potential to the defined particle. Anyway, no one has yet found this energy. Unexpectedly, the situation is comparable with the moment at which matter arises. Particle specialists have been going after for years to deductively describe the moment of the rise of solid matter, but so far without success. Particles get their mass in the Higgs field. The field is connected with the Higgs boson, the particle that was first identified in the particle accelerator in Geneva and was subsequently named the God particle. Anyway, the God particle has its traps, since it acts so erratically that it's difficult to make sense of how matter is made. Indeed, specialists are confronted with a mystery. Is it maybe obvious that time and matter are very different from our thought process? If time describes processes in matter, but there is no such thing as matter and it can't be described, what might be said about time? We should expect that matter is simply a variance that emerges through our perception, but isn't real. Then, time could also emerge just in our perception and not be real. Current logicians, such as Kurt Gödel, have shown that time could be a deception since it doesn't exist independently of space and matter. Einstein's work on the general theory of relativity showed that specific solutions to Einstein's field equations could enable time travel, raising doubt about the linearity and truth of time. In a static four-dimensional universe, there could be no progression of time. Some current scientific theories do indeed propose a universe wherein all events exist at the same time, and there is no straight flow of time. In this model, there is no past, present, or future, just a static whole. We travel as awareness through this supposed block universe and apparently experience the progression of time. This would imply that our experience of time is directly connected to our human presence and the way our minds work. Theories like timescape cosmology or the big voids theory take up these approaches and show that time is possibly a local phenomenon formed by the structure of the universe. This would support the assumption that time is a relative phenomenon within the universe, but it's not a fixed and unequivocal quantity. It exists because we experience it. However, this doesn't imply that it is fixed or deterred, restricted in the sense of scientific permanence. It means that time changes from a fundamental aspect to a passing and inconsistent phenomenon that only exists under certain circumstances, like in human perception. If that is the case, we should attribute less value to time. Generally, researchers' focus should be on areas such as investigating our experiences and brains. Is time destroying our mind? Of course, scientists have also tried to limit the essence of time inside our brains. In the mind, time essentially happens in the so-called temporal lobe, which is situated at about the level of the temples, to the left and right of the brow. When subjects are exposed to time-related stimuli, these regions of the brain react, and there is a change in the current flow and brain waves. When subjects are exposed to stress-related stimuli regarding time, these regions are especially active. The temporal lobes experience extreme conditions under stress, which have an adverse effect on the rest of the brain. In the trials, Scientists considered only a couple of time-related stimuli that didn't put the brain under pressure. In fact, imagining having unlimited time and no time pressure gave subjects a test. But why is that? Scientists argue in their work that the concept of time alone is so negatively entwined in our minds that all stimuli connected with time represent a potential for stress. So, does the deception of time make us mentally ill? And if there is no time, what is reality? Imagine your reality for what it is right now, then imagine that time just doesn't exist. You likely have trouble envisioning that. Much of our feelings and regular experiences are tied to time. Buddhist priests claim that the essence and limitations of time can be transcended through methods such as meditation. In the perspective of these individuals, time truly is just a deception. The people who have overcome time perceive the timelessness of all being and live in an aspect that exists beyond a direct entry of time. The priests experience the changing of the seasons like others, and they see the sun rising in the morning and setting in the evening. But they know that these events are neither absolute nor connected with time or, on the other hand, physical forces as we know them. For them, time and matter are part of the Maya of the deception of this world. That should be much easier to read now.